repeating, or you can say they are more frequent, while these are less frequent. Or you can say they are for the long period and they are for the short period, a short period of time. Again and again you have to undertake the transactions of revenue nature, while capital nature transactions you do not undertake frequently, means the number of capital transactions would be less. Okay, so you can simply understand with help of an example. We take an example, you buy a scooter for yourself, say for 50,000, and you fill this scooter with petrol, say for rupees 500. Okay, so these are two transactions which may seem to be similar, okay, but actually they are different from one another. The first one, that is buying a scooter, is a capital transaction, buying of the scooter, because this is a transaction which will affect your long term assets, it is a long term expenditure, while filling it with the petrol is a revenue transaction, because it is not for a long period of time, again and again you have to do it, right? And here the assets will increase. If you are a commerce student, you can simply understand this will increase your fixed asset or long term assets, while this is only the conversion of your cash into petrol, that is short term assets remain the same. So you have to simply differentiate between these two words, and this is the major thing that you have to understand in this part of the chapter, and the most important thing of this particular chapter, how you differentiate between the revenue transaction and a capital transaction, because the government budget will be divided into these two, revenue budget and capital budget. So once again you can just have a look at it, and first you consider it and understand it, only then you can understand the later part of the chapter. Remember, capital transactions have the effect on the long term assets and liabilities, that is they change the balance sheet of the government, while the revenue transactions do not have any effect on the long term assets or liabilities, or you can say that they do not lead to any change in the balance sheet of the government. So the components of government budget is broadly classified into revenue budget and capital budget. Revenue budget is again divided into two parts, that will be revenue receipt and revenue expenditure, while here it would be capital receipt okay. You can just see that the revenue budget means that these are all short term receipts of the government and short term expenditures of the government, which will be repeating and which will not affect the long term assets and liabilities, while the capital budget includes the capital receipt, that is long term receipts of the government, and the capital expenditure, that is long term expenditures of the government, and they will affect the balance sheet of the government, means they will increase or decrease the assets and liabilities of the government. So first we will talk about the revenue budget. As you can see, the revenue budget is divided into revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. So first we will study about the revenue receipt. So revenue receipt, remember this topic is easy to understand if we study it like this, okay, or you also try to learn it like this, that revenue receipt is now divided into tax revenue or tax receipts, better we can call it as tax receipt, and non-tax receipt. See why they are being classified into tax and non-tax, because tax is the major source of revenue for the government. The maximum amount of money comes to the government through the taxation. Then again, non-tax receipt is divided into two parts, that is commercial revenue or commercial receipts, or you better call it commercial revenue and administrative revenue. Just remember that revenue also means the receipt, but here this word revenue and with capital, it has a different meaning. So that you have to keep in mind that this revenue is actually the revenue chapter which we have done, talking about the money receipt, and this revenue is in respect with the capital, so it has a different meaning, and this revenue has a different meaning. This you have to remember. So the tax receipts are again divided into two type of taxes which are collected by the government. You must be knowing them: direct tax and indirect tax. Okay, direct tax is the tax in which the responsibility to pay the tax and the burden of the tax both lie on the same person. Means when you are defining a direct tax, you will say direct tax is a tax where the responsibility to pay the tax and the burden of the tax lie on the same person. Say for example the income tax. Suppose it's my income tax and I do not pay it, so I will be held responsible for not paying the tax, and it goes from my own pocket. So it is a direct tax in nature. Remember, we have also done them in the national income. While an indirect tax is where the responsibility and burden lie on different persons. Okay, this is the definition. When we are defining or differentiating between direct and indirect tax, the definition would be based on these two words, that is burden and responsibility. Responsibility, burden lying on the same person, direct tax lying on different persons, it is an indirect tax. Like for example the VAT. Okay, suppose you buy a mobile phone from the market for rupees 10,000 and you pay rupees 500 as the tax. Now this is the responsibility of the seller to take this or deposit this tax with the government, but it has gone from your pocket, right? You have paid for it. So here responsibility and burden are lying on different persons. This is an indirect tax. So the major source of revenue for the government is the tax receipt, which includes the direct tax and the indirect tax. This you have to remember. Then we will move on to the non-tax receipts. Non-tax receipt, commercial revenue or commercial receipts. Commercial means where the government is doing a business or where the government is working as an entrepreneur. Means government is selling goods and services. Like for example the revenue from railway, a government enterprise, revenue from Air India, revenue from LIC, or maybe any other government undertaking, ONGC, BHEL, all those companies working for the government, or you can say they are the government companies. So whatever money the government is generating as in form of a entrepreneur, that is known as the commercial revenue of the government. Next is administrative revenue. Again, administrative means the ruling function. Administrating a state or administration means what? Ruling a particular state. Like you have the admin office in your school or maybe in your colleges. So their work is doing the administration or ruling the particular organization. So as you know, the government is the administrator for the country, for the economy. So from here also the government can generate certain revenues. Like the first revenue which government can generate is fees. Okay, we'll write it then like this so that I can define it also for you. Okay, first administrative revenue is fees. Fees is defined as the cost of defraying a service. Cost of defraying a service means cost of taking a particular service from the government. Like for example, when you go to make your ration card or driving license or any other thing, so you have to pay a certain fee. Even for taking the services of a government hospital or a government school, you have to pay some amount of money. So that is the fees taken by the government. Actually, it is not the part of entrepreneurial revenue or commercial revenue, because here the purposes of the government is to do the welfare. Okay, like you must have seen that say maybe 5 or 10 rupees is the fees in the government hospital or the government school. So it is just a sort of little bit revenue which government wants to generate through its activities. Then second is a fine. Fine is anything that you have to pay for non-compliance of law. Or the money imposed or the punishment, monetary punishment imposed on a person for breaking a law. For example, driving your two-wheeler without a helmet. Okay, so government will challan you and take the police will cut your challan your vehicle and take the money from you. That will again be going to the government, and it is known as the fine. That is the any payment made for non-compliance of law. If you have to define it, you will define it like this. Then third is penalty. You may think that penalty and fine are same, but technically penalty is little different. Penalty is for non-compliance of court orders. Means if you do not follow the orders of the court. Suppose two parties were having a dispute regarding a land or a property. The government has ordered party A to vacate that land, and the party A doesn't vacate that land. So that is non-compliance of the court orders, and again you have to pay some monetary punishment or monetary penalty to the government, which is termed as penalty. So there is a technical difference between fine and penalty. Then fourth is escheat. Next is the escheat. Escheat simply means that if a person dies without a legal heir, a successor and a will, so all his property, all his bank balance will be taken up by the government. So it is also an important source of revenue for the government. Remember, only a person dying without a legal heir, may he not be or she not be the natural heir, but they should be the legal heirs of the person, or he dies and there is no will also. In that case, the property and bank balance will be confiscated by the government, and it is known as escheat. So this is all about the revenue receipts. Now we will talk about the capital receipts. Actually, I am not talking about the revenue expenditures, because once we will do the expenditures, you will realize that both capital expenditures and revenue expenditures are similar. So we will move on to the capital receipts. Capital receipts, when you have to define the capital receipts, you will define them as the receipts which either decrease an asset or increase a liability. Means any receipt, any money received by the government which decreases its asset or increases its liability, that is has a long term effect on the balance sheet, will be termed as capital receipt. I think that I skipped the definition of revenue receipt. So when you are defining revenue receipt, you just write that these are the receipts which neither decrease an asset nor increase a liability. For capital it will be which either decrease an asset or increase a liability. See, it is simple to understand. Decrease an asset because money can come only when you sell something or you borrow money from someone. So receipt is possible only by decreasing the asset or by increasing the liability. So now we will move on to the components of the capital receipts. The first and the most important is borrowing of the government. When the government borrows money from some sources, government can borrow from RBI, government can borrow from international organizations, like say IMF, or like say the World Bank, or from any other organization. So these are also the capital receipts for the government when it is borrowing money from some international organization or maybe from the RBI or taking loan from any other organization. Then second capital receipt for the government is recovery of loans. Recovery of loan means that any loan which the government may have given to the other state governments or maybe to some other organization, when that is paid back to the government, means any earlier loan given to the state governments or to the governments of the union territories. Remember, any past loan which has been given by the central government to any other government or any other union territory is paid back to the central government, or when you can simply say when the government gets back the loan which it had given to any other organization, then it is also a part of capital receipt, because just see that the asset of the government will reduce, because whenever you give a loan to someone you record it as your asset. Then third is disinvestment. Disinvestment simply means selling the shares or the ownership of the public sector units to the private sector. Means when the government sells some part of its units or organizations, or maybe sell the complete of the whole of the organization to the private sector, it is termed as disinvestment. And disinvestment has taken place in the Indian economy since it has adopted the concept of privatization, that is 1991. So disinvestment is another important source for the government. And why it is a capital receipt? Because once it sells the shares of the government units to the private sector, then the assets of the government will reduce. So this is an important thing that you have to remember, the components of the revenue receipts, the components of the capital receipts. Capital receipts has three components which are the recovery of loan, disinvestment and borrowing and other liabilities, while the revenue receipt has two important heads which were tax revenue and or tax receipt and non-tax receipt. Under the tax receipt you have direct and indirect taxes, while under the non-tax receipt you have the commercial revenue and the administrative revenue. Under administrative revenue also you have various heads. Important thing that you have to understand in this topic. After studying about the receipts or the revenues of the government, now we have to study the second important component of the government budget, that is the government expenditures or budgetary expenditures. See, expenditures like the receipts are divided into two parts: revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Again, just see the definition is based on the same thing, the effect on the balance sheet. Revenue expenditures are those expenditures which neither increase an asset nor reduce a liability. Means no effect on the long-term balance sheet of the government. Such type of expenditure will not increase any asset of the government, nor it will reduce any liability of the government. While the capital expenditure, it will either increase an asset or reduce a liability. Okay, just recall revenue receipt were the receipts which neither decrease an asset nor increase a liability, while capital receipts are the receipts which either which neither increase any asset nor reduce any liability. So this you have to remember. Okay, they are defined on the same basis, whether it is capital receipt or capital expenditure, or whether revenue receipt or revenue expenditure, just their effect on the balance sheet. Now after understanding the basic division, I told you that revenues are all similar. See how they are similar, because again revenue expenditure is divided into two, planned and non-planned. Similarly, capital expenditure is also divided into planned and non-planned. First of all, we should understand what is planned and non-planned expenditure. A planned expenditure is an expenditure which is already stated in the current 5-year plan. You know that planning in India is done on the 5-year basis, or we adopt the method of 5-year planning in India. So any expenditure which has already been written in the 5-year plan will be known as planned expenditure. While for non-planned expenditure, any expenditure which is not stated in the current 5-year plan. Say earthquake occurs and government has to pay some compensation to the victims. So that type of expenditure cannot be forecasted. So it is not written in the current 5-year plan. The basic difference between planned and non-planned. And similarly, now a planned expenditure may be of revenue nature or may be of capital nature. Similarly, a non-planned expenditure may be of revenue nature or may be of capital nature. Okay, so this you have to remember how it is classified. You simply have to learn the meaning of these two and you already know what it means here. Then again, planned expenditure can be divided into developmental and non-developmental. Again here it can be divided into developmental and non-developmental. Again here also developmental and non-developmental. Okay, just see that the divisions are same for all. Okay, it means you just need to know what is developmental and what is non-developmental. Again, it could be part of either the planned revenue or planned capital, or non-planned revenue or non-planned capital. Developmental expenditures are those which directly relate to development of the economy. Okay, directly related to the development of the economy. That is the expenditures like done on the improving the communication, improving the infrastructural facilities of the economy, maybe the electricity, the power, okay, which are directly affecting the economic activities. They will be known as developmental expenditures. Construction of better roads, again directly related to your development. While non-developmental expenditures are those which are not directly related to development. Okay, so see why I have not erased all these words and written them.